Hey there. Tim speaking. Ha! Bet you didn't think you'd see this, huh? No, I'm not into this research stuff on that October the 1st shooting any longer. About once a year, I will do a YouTube search, and I will filter it to you can filter it from the last day, the last week, the last month, or the last year. And about once a year, sometimes a year and a half, I'll type in Stephen Paddock, and then I'll go up to the top right on my phone, and you can hit filter, and then you can filter it, like I said, and I'll hit last year, so it'll show, and then you change it from any to videos, and then you just, boom, enter it. And you get a list of all the videos in the last year, and you just sit there with your finger and you do this, and you're like, nothing, right? I mean, of course, there's still a bunch of people still blaming it on the Saudis and still thinking the windows aren't broke and oh God, what else? Gun sale. I mean, you name it. And then you got these younger podcasters that have this multi-$1,000 studio set up, and they got 80,000 subscribers, and they'll sit there and talk to each other, and they'll rehash all that same old bullshit that was incorrect from way back in the day. That was incorrect. They don't want to talk. They don't know anything. They're just trying to get views, and the weird thing is they're making money off that shit, man. They're making money. They got commercials and then the commenters. It's crazy. So anyway, I had found when I was scrolling through that list, I got probably, I'm not kidding you, probably 120 to 150 videos down, and I just was rolling with my fingers because all it was showing was the newest stuff on Stephen Paddock in the last year, these uploads from the last year, and about 120, 150 down, somewhere in that range, I saw this video that said Paddock at the window or some shit. I don't remember the title of it. And I looked at it and I clicked it. Whoa, Stephen Craig Paddock at the window. Gun smoking, right? Killing people out the window. You get me? I'm like, whoa. But immediately I saw the problems. I saw curtains open and I'm like, that ain't gonna work. And then there's no backwards muzzle flash. But with the windows open, there would be, the muzzle flash, instead of going out, would be going back inside the room, and the whole room would have been, where those window spaces were open, the whole room would have been a strobe light. And that would have been seen by everybody in the world. So I knew it was fake right away. Very, very creative. Very creative how this person did this. And then I looked at the name of the account. I go back going like, this is some heavy duty trolling, man. I left a comment saying, I don't remember exactly what my first words were. Is this real? And then period, it looks AI. Yeah, that's what I said. I said, is this real? I hit the period. And then I said, looks like AI, period. And then I wrote, Windows incorrect. Meaning the curtains. I should have said curtain openings are incorrect. And I didn't run it through a filter. I didn't turn on my computer or anything like that. I rarely hit like button on any video I watch. I've had this account. You'll see that you can look at my account here. I've had this account, I think, since 2019. I have, I think, 22. Well, you can't tell because they're all hidden, but I've got 22 liked videos. So I hit the like video. I'm going like, oh, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this. I'd like to share it. And so I hit it, and I hit the like button on it. Crossed my fingers. I said, oh, shit, I don't know if I can come back to this. So I took a screenshot of the screen there, and then I went into my liked folder, and I said, okay, I saved it. And then I thought about it. I said, there's only one person I'd really like to send this to because he didn't do it for views. He went through to create a record like Las Vegas Shooting Archive did with the videos and the body cam release, which was a hell of a job that young man did. He wanted to create a record of the police reports and stuff like that, and that was point and stick. So I copied the link. I sent it to Point and Stick. And I said, hey, I think I said something like, you might find this interesting. And I wasn't subscribed. Just haven't subscribed to anybody from the so-called good old days. I wasn't subscribed to them, so I took the video that I had put my message on. I put that one into my like folder. Went back and made sure that it was in my like folder correctly. I had to do a YouTube search on Point and Stick just to pull your channel up, brother. No shit. And but I sent it to you, and the next day he had made a video on it. A good video, and he has some skills that can do photo overlay. So Point and Stick channel, he has go to his live section. I wish you would have put that into your video section, because not everybody knows when they go to your channel, oh, go to the live stream, but that's what you did. You did a live stream on it. And so anyway, I found it. I found your reply to it, and you didn't, you were very respectful to me, and I appreciate that. I did some channel cleanup here, renamed it to Common Sense, because I knew I wanted to make a video. After a conversation with Point and Stick, he told me that he's part of a group that's doing some research, some new names, new faces, and good people. If that's even possible with conspiracy theory crowds. But I thought to myself, I go through that list, and like I said, I got down 100 to 150, 120 to 150 videos, just rolling with my thumb and looking at this, and clicked on a few of them, watched them for 5 seconds, turned it off, and knew it was garbage. I thought, over these years, I've really put together some stuff in my head that I never videoed, and I never told anyone about, that really tie this together as far as what Paddock did, how serious this was, and how much he planned it. And I come up with a list. I'm going to try just to go through it quick, and I've got a list of 9 things. I could make 9 videos right now. I'm not trying to torture myself. I'm not trying to torture myself for doing this, okay? Because I'm not back into this community as far as research, and I'm not researching this crime. To me, I have all my answers. I have them all to satisfy myself, okay? But I do wish the madness on some of this shit would stop, because there's some people that they get so locked in on something, and even with evidence in their face, they won't pull out of it. They won't pull out of it and look at it a little bit differently. I'm going to go through the list real quick, and then I'll expound on each one of them. Number 1 is the anomalies of the first day of the shooting. The first days, the anomalies that were coming out, which means the police reports, Joe Lombardo, Sisolak, the commissioner and police chief for Las Vegas, what they were saying, how that was confusing the crowd, radio logs, people saying 2 shooters, 3 shooters, 4 shooters, shooters at the Bellagio, shooters at Tropicana, shooters in the nose of the Sphinx outside the left nostril, by the way. The left nostril of the Sphinx had a shooter in it. I even saw a video of that in the early days. Things like that. And the second thing is what the concert videos really show, what the people with the cell phones, what do they really show? I'll get into that. The third thing is the January preliminary report. The crime happened October the 1st. Stephen Craig Paddock fired, he broke 2 windows. He fired out of the Mandalay Bay Hotel, killed 57 people, 58. I think it's way up higher than that now, because there's people that have died since then. And as a result of complications from their wounds or their immune system or whatever, just complicated. So the fourth thing is the body camera. Now, anyway, in January, the crime happened October the 1st. In January, I think it was January the 18th of 2018, preliminary report came out. It was about 70 pages long. It's from the Las Vegas Police Department. Contains some photos in it. They weren't really good photos. it helped us a lot with the research. It helped us a lot, but it didn't answer anything really. It answered a lot. To me, it answered a lot, but there was more left to answer, and so the community stayed in place. The fourth thing I want to talk about is the body camera and the police report releases. Las Vegas Shooting Archive and his crew that he was working with did one hell of a job going and picking those up. They made them public on YouTube. Everybody was able to dissect them, and we learned a lot more. Fifth thing, number 5, is the August 2018 final report. It had more photos. It had different photos. It expounded on more of the witnesses at the hotel, gave us a hell of a lot of information. And understand, by August of 2018, when the final report came out, a community of about 500,000 people that were watching about 500,000 worldwide, that were daily watching videos and laying comments and forming groups and having theories. By August of 2018, when the final report came out, really the community shrank. The community shrank, and all hell kind of broke loose with some of the people. This theory didn't work out. So instead of leaving YouTube space and just going off into something else in their life, they just decided to start attacking people. I was actually the worst one attacked because I was saying Paddock was guilty, guilty, guilty. Paddock, 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 guilty, guilty, guilty. It actually was a famous saying. Yeah, it was famous. It really was. Number 6, the broken windows or not. People actually started after the final report around August of 2018 saying there's no broken windows. Because one of the body cam, when the police entered the room where the shooting took place, one of the cops hollers out, "There's no broken window." Well, there was. Number 7, Paddock's planning was much better than I understood. His planning was way better than I understood. Now I know this. I know this in hindsight because a lot of this I've put together. I used to tell people I want to know his footsteps. Every footstep between the volleys, the footsteps that started it, I wanted to have a visual in my mind of where exactly everything happened in that room. But that's not all. I wanted to know what happened before then, and that was the hard part. But now it's all coming together, what he did, and I'll tell you. Number 8, the weapons firing order. We know it. We know which gun fired what. There's only, we're 95% sure. There's one gun that could have been used, well, it had to have been used twice. Some people say it wasn't used twice. He might have popped out, put another, what do you call them, magazine, cartridge, whatever. I don't even remember the name of that shit anymore. Into the rifle. The last thing I want to talk about is the tannerite. I know that he was planning to blow that frickin' hotel room up. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Okay? So, without ado, let's just start. And I'm sorry it took 14 minutes. I'm looking at the phone right here. I suspect this is going to take 40 minutes, and I hope my phone has enough storage space to do it. The anomalies in the first few days. The crime happens on October the 1st. Okay? The first videos that came out, your people in the concert had their cell phones holding it up, and you're hearing snaps. You're hearing gunfire. You're hearing gunfire echoes and these weird snaps. Most of us were never in the military, and even if you were in the military, you're not shooting in a area that is basically a fishbowl surrounded by large buildings, echo, glass and steel echoing. But the taxi driver video was the first famous taxi driver video. This woman was down at the bottom of the Mandalay Bay, right at the front of the Mandalay Bay, and she was recording on her phone and talking to someone or something, and she recorded the gunfire, the first 100-round volley. She recorded it. You could hear in the background, you could hear the echoes. Okay. Now, in the concert, those guys taking videos of Jason Aldean, we were hearing gunfire and supersonic snaps. I had never even knew what a supersonic snap was. I've never fired a bump stock or a semi-automatic AR-15 or held an assault rifle ever in my hand. When I was a kid, I had a .22 long rifle. That's it. You could pull you could fire 20 or 22 shots, I believe, 20 shots or whatever it was. But I never heard echoes and things like that. You're out in the woods. But the taxi driver video, you definitely hear the echo in the background, which is probably coming off the Tropicana, and in that area, and things like that were going on. We didn't have any police reports that were really any freaking good. We didn't have a preliminary report. We didn't have anything. So everyone was kind of looking for a second shooter because the whole world was talking about, hey, this sounds like more than one person firing, right? So I started looking at videos, and I had a big screen TV, and it was a hell of a good TV, and I could slow the videos down, and I could hit my pause button. I found a person in, I believe it was a Jason Hartman video. It's a famous video shot from, I think it's a Jason Hartman video. It's a famous video shot from the restaurant up at the top of Mandalay Bay, looking down at the concert. And on top of the pizzeria, I saw a figure, it looked like a figure in black holding a broomstick. Got to be a gun, right? So I had never made videos. I didn't have a YouTube account. I was watching as a guest on YouTube on the TV. And so I created an account, called it D. James, started, laid a couple of comments to some guys that had the videos posted, and they just didn't really take a big interest in it. And then one did, a guy named Jersey Steve did, and he made a video of it. He made a video showing it, and everybody's saying, oh, you're just, fuck you, you're seeing things. And, the trolling. That's nothing, blah, blah, blah. Turns out, in 2018, when they started releasing the police reports, guess what? 2 officers climbed on top of the damn pizzeria. That was 2 officers. Another officer went on top of the billboard over on the Tropicana side. There was a channel called According to Joe. He was a former policeman. I guess he was. He said he was. He was a former policeman turned in making videos for Las Vegas. You don't hear from him anymore. He was doing videos looking for a second shooter, and I sent him screenshots and everything on the cop that was up on the billboard across the street from the Luxor, right there at the venue. There was another figure in black holding a gun up there. So people thought I was crazy. But guess what? The reports came out like in late 2018. It proved it. It proved I was right. But instead of being a second shooter, they were cops. And then in January, the preliminary report came out that showed all the shell casings inside the hotel room on the ground in front of the broken window. I had told Sean Graham, who was my first subscriber, and I even asked him, why are you subscribing to me? I hadn't even made a video. Now I know why. But I told Sean Graham that, because he was on me like, there's no second shooter out there, And I'm going like, oh, okay, well, I don't know who's on top of the pizzeria. I don't know who's on top of that billboard. Like I said, come to find out it was cops. But you couldn't tell in the video because it was so far away and grainy. But there was definitely people. But I had told Sean Graham, I said, look, if I see some shell casings up in that damn room, I'm done with looking outside. I kept my word. I never made another video of a second shooter outside that concert. Kept my word to Sean on that. Kept my word to myself. Yeah, like I said, there's people that they don't change. I changed. Okay, but there was an anomaly that popped up during the release of these videos. Nick Vegas a channel creator, had released a very, very high quality video of any old bar stool in this town, the first 6 shots. And I'll be damned if you've got a big enough TV that's 1080 DPI or higher, you're going to see something fall from that window. And it's not 130. It doesn't look like it's 130, 135. Room 135, which is the main window that Paddock shot out of. It doesn't look like that at all. It looks, to me, it looks farther over. And could be 134 broken at the same time, or broken right after it. Someone, or maybe they broke them both and they're coming down. So I was thinking, and the way room 134 was set up, and now I know why room 34 was set up this way. The bed was made to look like 2 people had slept in it. There's a pair of shoes there that definitely don't fit Stephen Craig Paddock in the room, 134. There's laundry in the bathroom. This is the small connecting room to the big main suite. So you have clothing in Paddock's, dirty clothing in Paddock's main suite, and you have dirty clothing in a small suite. 2 people, 2 people, 2 people. So my focus was on, was there a person in the second room? So that was my focus. Very honest search. Not trying to be conspiratorial. I mean, you got shoes, dirty clothes. You got a bed in it, folks, that clearly looks like 2 people have been in that bed. And there's a food cart with dirty food in it. Cameras in there. Everything pointed towards a second person in that room. Come to find out, I was wrong, and I know why. There wasn't a second person in that room. It was Paddock the whole time. And I'm not going to go and continue to look for a second shooter inside that room, because I have my answer. A lot came to me as these years have gone by. I understand what Paddock did. A lot of y'all don't. A lot of y'all don't. So I guess I'm all the way kind of past number 3, which was preliminary report. And mistakes were made. Joe Lombardo had got the LVMPD, which is the police department. Joe Lombardo was the chief. They got the timeline wrong, and it was legitimate how they got the timeline wrong. Some of the computers at Mandalay Bay, the radio logs, they're tied into computers. So when they created the program, the time actually doesn't match properly. You can reset the time on these computers, and some of these timestamps on their systems didn't jive with one another. The login, the check-in at the hotel didn't really kind of match up with the radio log times, not exactly. And anyway, there was some discrepancies, and they had to clean that up, and they did clean that up. And then there was Win Campos, the hero of the whole thing, I thought. He's the one that interrupted Paddock and kind of forced Paddock to go back and forth looking at cameras, which threw Paddock's plan all off. He still was successful, unfortunately, but it threw his plan off. All that was in the anomalies of the first one, and I just told you what the concert video show. They show echoes, supersonic snaps, bullets. They also show a lot of fragmented bullets that fragmented, which was it goes right with the frangible ammunition that Stephen Craig Paddock used. There's a difference between hollow point, and then there's another set of ammunition that's actually will fragment more than a hollow point bullet. It's called fragment. It's a fragmentation round that you can buy. It's a practice type round that they use at police departments. Unfortunately, when something like that hits concrete, it'll explode into little pieces, and you get pellets. You get pellets coming off. So he fires 100 rounds, it turns into 300 pellets. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what happened. That's what happened. And unfortunately, the concert was concrete. It's concrete, what people were standing on. And then there's steel everywhere and aluminum. And anyway, we'll get to that. Body camera and report releases. The body camera was an interesting thing. for all the people that were still looking outside the concert, which I really wasn't. And so I didn't make videos on that. I made videos about the rooms and the crimes up in the rooms, which is where it happened. But there was still people, a large group of people that were fighting each other and trolling each other. And they really weren't attacking me at that point. But they were concentrating more on outside, still looking for a second shooter. And there was a hell of a lot to look at in those body camera releases. And there was a lot of anomalies. But it was just confusion. You look back on it now, and years later, you think about that, and it's just a lot of it's just confusion. So all that was going on in August of 2018. Okay, and then came the broken windows, John Hoover. But John Hoover wasn't the first one to do it. There was some other channels, very small channels. And John obviously was doing his research and looking around and picked up on it. And John Cullen of the John E. Hoover channel, Mr. Helicopter himself, spoken to him. I spoke to him quite a bit before the broken window shit. Him and I did discuss the crime, pretty good detail. Pretty good detail. We discussed the crime. He knew I was still looking outside. At that point, I was looking outside the concert. He thought I should be looking up in the air, you know. And then the preliminary report came out. We still did some talking to each other, but I think when the broken window fiasco happened, that was the last time that John and I talked. That was it. I don't recall ever talking to Hoover after that. Hell of a video maker, creative. He captured a lot of people. He captured a lot of people's imagination, as they say. And yeah, it's quite an anomaly up there. You know, you got the strobe lights of the helicopters flying around at the same time that gunfire's going off. Quite an anomaly. I can see how that could be an issue to some people. I did do something before the preliminary report came out. I found an audio on a podcast where people were in the Mandalay Bay on a different floor, and their loved one called from the concert and said it was helicopters. There actually is a person. There actually a female. There is a female that was in the concert and called up to the Mandalay Bay to her relatives that were on a different floor and said there's a fucking helicopter firing. No shit. And it's on a podcast. And I made a deal with John. I'll tell you what I did, how I handled it with Hoover. And I don't think Hoover's going to see this, but if you do see this, John, hey, I did the right thing. Here's what I did. I told him, I said, look, I got a witness for you. I got a witness for you on your helicopter thing. Okay, it's going to give you what you want. I didn't really personally believe the helicopter shit, but I had a witness for him about the helicopters. So I told him, I said, okay, here's the deal. We're going to do a collaboration. We're going to get some video creators together. You're going to make the freaking video. I'm going to write the introduction. Boom. You know, how this is going to, I wanted to write out a direction. Here's how it needs to be produced. You're going to make the video. I'm going to give you this. And it worked. He made a couple of videos on it, and they were really good videos. I'm sure he still has them up. And I guess he still has them up on a playlist. He probably has a playlist in there. But that's how I did it. I tried to get teamwork. And we got Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer, which had been in the community earlier. So anyway, I was in contact with Laura, and I was in contact with John. And I forwarded to Laura, here's how this thing should be laid out, and she agreed. And John made the video, and it worked. You know, I emailed a long description. Here's what I want to see. And there was another collaborator. I don't remember exactly who. I think there was two other collaborators that had got together on this, and that he had combined. He had combined to like two other theories, whatever you want to call them. Hypothesis, that's the correct word. The hypothesis. Y'all remember that word, right? your hypothesis. And so anyway, then John came out with the broken window bullshit. Went a completely different direction because he's trying to tie the helicopters. Don't look at the broken windows, look at the helicopters. So that's John's motivation, and that's what this is all about. So if you still hear people wanting to look about trying to say the glass wasn't broke because of these cheap images and the way glass reflects the baked-on finish in nighttime and the stanchions and the lights, come on, man. Windows are broke. The broken windows are not. I'll just get into it real quick about the glass. These panes of glass, they did not have sensors on them, so scratch that crap theory off the list. I'm going to pause a second and give me a cough drop. Pause. If I can remember how to fix it. Oh, there it is. Back from the pause. You got 2 layers of glass there. This is standard high-rise double-layered tempered glass, 1/4 inch inside pane. It's 2 layers. One layer of the inner layer is tempered, which means it'll shatter into little bitty pieces, like the side window on your car. You break the side window on your car, it'll just break into thousands of little bitty pieces. So that's the inside. Then it's a 1/4 inch pane. Then you have a 1/2 inch airspace, and you have another 1/4 inch pane of glass. The outer layer, which is facing outside into the elements, is heat strengthened. And in this case, it has a baked-on film. It has a baked-on reflective film, gold. And in the case of the Mandalay Bay, it's gold, which is very, very expensive. The outer layer is heat strengthened, and it is very, very tough. It's not unbreakable by any means, but it's a 1/4 inch thick, and it's heat strengthened, and it doesn't crack into little bitty pieces. If you hit it hard enough, it'll create a long, long crack. It'll just make a long crack, or it might, depending on how hard you hit it, but it doesn't even hardly separate when it cracks. It just barely separates. The reason why is all the way around the window is an aluminum band that joins the two pieces of glass are joined all the way around with an aluminum band with silicone. There's black silicone they use that goes around it, and they create a vacuum. They have a tool that goes into that hot silicone. It'll pull a vacuum and suck all the natural air out, and they'll fill it with gas. Okay? They fill it with an inert gas. Sometimes argon, sometimes nitrogen. But it's an inert gas. And what this does is to prevent moisture. Okay? And it pulls the vacuum and puts the gas in. That way, when you're in your hotel room or you're in your office building and it's 0 degrees outside and it's 70 degrees inside, you don't have the glass sweat. Okay? And it also stabilizes the pressure inside that window pane on a 100-degree day. If nobody's in the building and it goes down below 0, okay? And the silicone that they use around it, it never really gets real hard. This is not a dry latex silicone. This is a very, very high quality silicone. And so you have this band going around the glass. Now when you break this glass, because the inside layer turns into little bitty pieces and just falls. The outside layer, as I stated, it runs into long lines, okay? Then what happens is it finally reaches the band. It reaches the outer band, and the silicone is all the way around this thing, and the piece basically won't fall out. It's hard. You can crack and make a hole in it, as Paddock did, and most of the glass will not fall out. Okay? That's why he had a hammer sitting there to knock out some more glass, because this guy, he did his research. People say he didn't do his research. I'm telling you, he did his research. He knew what the fuck he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He did his research. And how do you research it? Simple. YouTube, man. Just get on frickin' YouTube. You don't have to sign into an account. Get in as a guest. Go to your search. You're anonymous. You're anonymous. Dude did all his research anonymously. I know he did it. Everything comes together in my mind when I tell you this, okay? All right, so that's why I posted on this video. You're going to see a picture the next morning of what the hole looked like and a picture of the night when a helicopter went by with a FLIR camera. Law enforcement went by with a night vision. It's not exactly night vision. It's its own technology called FLIR. It's made in Oregon. FLIR. And they took pictures. And they got a hell of a good shot of those windows. The hole in the window is much smaller than the hole the next morning. Now go back to the police reports. In the middle of the frickin' night, they got two people standing down there by the valet that are talking. And I'll be damned, guess what? You hear glass falling in the middle of the night, way after the shooting. Well, what's happening? Okay, if you look at the original hole in 135 window that I've just posted, and you look at the hole the next morning, for safety issues, folks, it's called safety issues. They got up there and they did some more banging. I'm not even sure if that hammer that we see at the window the next morning in those photographs, I'm not even sure if that hammer's in the right location where they found it. And why would you go get another hammer in the middle of the night when you need to knock out a little bit more glass that's loose? And you can see from the photograph, okay? Don't be a nutter. Don't be a nutter on this. Use your own eyes. You can see bullet holes. And you can see lines, okay? And especially if you take a computer or put that photograph onto a big 48-inch or 65-inch TV. I'm telling you, it is really clear what was going on with that glass, okay? Nothing special about breaking the glass. And in the middle of the night, they knocked out more glass for safety reasons, okay? To knock off the loose pieces. And I'm telling you, I did not post a picture of 134 on this video. They did the same exact thing in room 134. Completely different hole. But Paddock did it differently over in 134, the small room. He needed a hole lower to the ground. He needed it much lower to the ground than he was. That's why Melissa Ramirez got killed. One of the fuel tank shots, I'll get to that. One of the fuel tank shots was a 308. Well, if Paddock's trying to blow up the fuel tank, how in the fuck does Melissa Ramirez, who everyone thinks didn't die and was a rag doll, that stupid rag doll crap, that they thought it was, they thought her death was fake. How did she get hit with a 308? And it's been confirmed. She was hit with a 308 from an AR-10. She wasn't hit with one of those AR-15s that were shooting out of 135 at the concert. She was hit outside the venue, away from the fuel tanks. Now, let me just get to that. I think I've said enough about the glass, and if you have any questions about the glass, don't ask me. Just don't ask me, okay? I don't want to hear it. Now, let's just go to the first shots. I'm going to go to the first shots, and I'm going to go to the first shots that correspond with breaking the glass. In 135, the main room that shot the concert to hell, and the fuel tank shot room, which is 134. I'm going to explain to you how Paddock shot these windows. The audio confirms what I'm talking about. The proof is in the audio. Okay, is it subjective? Not really. Not really. Not when you look at what did the first shots pattern look like in 135. Go to the fuel tank shots and look at 134. You're going to see a pattern there, and it's deliberate, and I'm going to tell you why right now. When I tell you, you're going to understand. Craig Paddock is standing in front of the window in 135, and he has to break the glass. How do you break the glass? The curtain is closed. He's got the chair right in front of it, so he knows exactly where to shoot. He's already figured out the angle where he wants the hole at. He steps back, and he fires one shot. If you look at the first 6 shots, the first shot, here's what I want you to exactly do. Here's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to go to Mr. Visuals video, or go to Drewnonymous, who has a shot, who has a, I believe he has a, Drewnonymous has a video about first shots. Over there on the fuel tank side of the concert, by the gate there, the VIP section is that area going up that alley, going toward Pizzeria. That's where they're all standing around. They're not in front of the stage, and you hear the first shots. The first shot is low. The audio is lower. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, higher. Why? Let the tape run. Just rewind that spot of the audio. Rewind it 3 or 4 times. If you're really hard-headed, run it at 10. 10, 10, 10. You're going to hear the first shot, and then you're going to hear a pause before the rest of the shots. Okay. Next thing I want you to do is, where did these shots land? Well, I'll be damned. Where did they land? They were all scattered out. These first 6 shots were all scattered out. What was he doing? He was breaking the glass. He was shooting a pattern. This man was smart. Stephen Craig Paddock was smart, did his research. He understood what that heat strengthened glass was. He understood how to shatter the metal. He closed the curtain. He shot the very first shot, probably just straight out. Just straight out. Boom. Didn't care where it was. That takes out the inner layer of glass. The inner layer shatters into little bitty pieces. So what's he left with? What's he left with? Take the hammer, just barely touch the window. Boom, barely touch it. All that shit falls to the ground. You see it in the photographs. It's all piled up. It doesn't jump and fly all over the room like people think because of this magical gas that's under this magical pressure. It ain't much pressure in that glass, man. It's a vacuum and barely a little bit of glass, barely a little bit of nothing. I don't even want to go there. So the inner layer shatters on the first shot. There's a pause. Pause. You remember that famous saying? He walks up to the curtain's closed. Boom. Pulls back the curtain, hits it a little bit here and there. There's only one hole in the glass. And there's a pause between the next shots. The reason why is he's clearing out a little bit. He's clearing out some of that tempered glass that might still be hanging around. Most of it has already fell. So now he's got the outside layer. He's got one hole in it. He looks, closes the curtain, backs up, boom, 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 boom. Fires 5 more shots in a pattern. You don't believe me? Look at the glass. I'm posting the image for you. Okay? Think. Then, what does he got to do? He's got to make an opening. There's 2 ways to make an opening. Pull back the curtain a little bit. Either use the butt of the rifle. I'm not sure if he did that or not. Okay? Because of the bump stock. Because the bump stock goes back and forth. More logically, he just grabbed the hammer and just started tapping. Bang, 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 bang. Did some tapping around it. Trying to make as least noise as he can, so he takes the frickin' hammer and he wraps tape around it, thinking, well, it'll be a little quieter. It won't, it'll dull the echo. Even if it dulls at 3, 4, 5 decibels, 10 decibels, even 5 decibels, anything can make a difference for him. So that's why you got the tape wrapped around the end of the hammer to try to think that maybe it'll lower the decibels when I try to knock out some of this heat-strengthened glass. Okay. I am almost positive he did not have the hole he needed on that first attempt. He did the first 6 shots, and they're scattered around the concert. One of them went in front of the stage, which was probably the first damn shot, and it's a lower. When you listen to the audio, you don't hear the first shot hardly. As I'm telling you, you don't hear it near as loud as the others. The reason why is it was a double pane piece of glass. Now it's a single pane piece of glass. It's losing integrity. More sound is echoing through. And these guns are fucking loud. That's why you hear them a quarter mile away at the concert. They are loud. And he's up in the air, and it's in a bowl. You got all these buildings wrapped around, all the echoing, and it's holding the sound in. I mean, there's science behind all this crap, guys. So that's how he knocked the glass out. Probably wasn't finished. The hole probably, as he's firing in a circular motion, he's getting a little more glass, a little more glass, a little more glass at a time. Okay, a little more is falling, because these crack lines, every time he hits it with a bullet, he gets a little bit different crack line, and some of the crack lines will join, and then a bullet will strike it. And so what's probably started off as a hole about that big is now a hole about that big, about that big. Listen, I'm telling y'all, go back and look at these pictures I'm posting, okay? It's that simple. The hole was not that big the next, it wasn't full size the next morning. I mean, not when he did the shooting, it wasn't near as big. And I'm telling you, it just got bigger as he was firing 1,000 rounds out that fucking window. All right, so was the curtain open or closed? Curtain was closed. Most of the gunfiring that he did, the curtain was closed. Once he definitely opened the curtain, and he looked down, and he's looking down at the police cars and the police response down below him. One of the officers says he looked up. One of the officers is in the police reports. He looked up. He says, "Man, I see the dude standing at the window with a rifle in his hand." So he had pulled the curtains back. Now, how do I know that he shot through the curtains? Well, number one, there's no reflection. You don't see these reflections outside. You don't see them. Okay, the curtains are closed in the room. There's also other reasons why you don't see the muzzle flashes so much as you would think that you would see it. But if you look at the curtains, he's blasting through the curtains, man. He's got the curtains closed, and he's just blasting through the curtains. All right, now what evidence do I have to say that? Well, that's pretty obvious. That's really obvious. Look at the fucking curtain. I'm posting a picture of it. And that's not even a good picture. That's just the shit that they gave us. You can imagine what it really looked like. Those curtains, by code, by national code, those are fire retardant curtains. I am positive Paddock did his homework on this, on whether or not he could fire through the curtains and just make a pattern. Once you know what the little area is, just start blasting. You got 10,000 people down there to hit, and they're all running like ants. Just start shooting the shit up, okay? Just shoot all you want. And that's what he was doing. The curtains were closed. So the curtain inside the room, major damage, major, folks. To get that much damage, you just have to keep firing, and you have to have that muzzle up close, because those are fire retardant, heavy curtains. If you know anything about welding, and you ever been in a chemical plant or refinery, if you're in a gas unit in a refinery and you need to do some welding, they're not going to shut down. They're not going to shut down the refinery so you can go make that weld. You know what they're going to do? They're going to build a box. The scaffold guys will build a scaffold. They'll build a fire box of plywood. Then they'll line it with fire blankets. Okay, so that's what they do. And to those who just don't believe intelligent stuff, just go Google it. Just go Google it. Fire blankets in chemical plants. Google fire retardant curtains in hotels. These people aren't stupid, man. They don't want to lose a hotel due to some asshole smoking a cigarette and drops his ashtray back in the old days next to the fucking curtains. The curtains catch on fire, burn the whole hotel room. Okay, the second piece of evidence on that he was firing through the curtains is the sheer white curtain that was facing the inside of the glass. Behind the outer layer of curtains was a sheer white layer of curtains. Folks, the Las Vegas Review-Journal issued a photograph in an article weeks after the shooting, and it's got a picture of that only the sheer curtain coming out that window the next morning, and it's in a perfect shape. I took that picture. I saw it. I did this way back in I did it in 2018. I took that frickin' picture, one of the last videos I ever made before all hell broke loose with that stupid community. I took that picture, I cropped it, I set it on my photo program, and I changed it to black and white, negative. But no, I didn't, not a negative. I just changed it to black and white. I didn't increase the contrast. I didn't do anything. I'm telling you, I could see 100 freaking holes in it. I could see burn marks, black, big old huge spot around it is just gray. It's just, I mean, completely fucking gray. I posted that as one of the last things that I ever did on my channel. I posted it. Son of a bitch still didn't believe it, man. They're still coming back saying no broken window. Like this is faked. You can't make this up, man. You can't make this up. I mean, it's just the most illogical shit you ever seen. But, you know, they're just trolls. They're just trolls. And when their theory fell apart, well, what do you do then? You don't leave the community. You just go after the other guy. Go after the ones that are left over, right? That's what they did. So that's how that worked out. So the first shots, there's a pause. Go to room 134, the fuel tank shots. Same exact situation. Same exact situation. He fires the first shot, it breaks the inside of the glass. There's a pause. There's a pause. Then he fires a few shots to loosen up the glass. Unfortunately, Melissa Ramirez, and that's what's so heartbreaking about this. I mean, he wasn't even aiming at her with you know, a much larger round. A really explosive fucking round is what he used, and that hit Melissa Ramirez. That was devastating, folks. She gets hit way away. She's running towards the airport, not even near that fuel tank, and she gets hit with one of those shots that people are calling the fuel tank shots. That just bothers me. Now I'm pretty sure there's a garage. There's a person that's got like a condo or a townhouse just around the corner from where Melissa was. And that was one of the first videos in the whole thing back in 2017 when this happened. This person has a hole at the bottom of a garage door outside the parking lot where they live. Like, how'd that hole get here? Well, that's one of them 308s. He was loosening up the glass. If you really look fairly at what he did on the fuel tanks, what was he trying to do? Now I'm at 52 minutes on this video. It looks like it's still running. I'm surprised. I don't know how much longer it's going to run, but this I do want to get to two more things, and then I'll close the video. Room 134, he shot it out the same way. First shot was just to take out the inner layer of glass. Second, third, who knows, fourth shot, and he had to fire at least 3 more shots. But he did it lower towards the ground, and he had experience now. He had experience from the other room. Okay? Now, people are going to say, well, what did he use to break the, what did he use to break the window? Yeah, I mean, if he had these lines of glass and he got rid of the temper, the little stuff, the inner layer, he's still going to need to hammer out maybe the hole bigger, right? I don't think he wanted the hole very big at first. I don't think he wanted that hole to be very, very big at first. I really don't. I think he just wanted a big enough hole to where he could see through and get a rifle to get that fuel tank. But he had a bigger hole, and there's 2 ways to do it: a hammer or the butt of the rifle. I'll go back to what I just told you about in 135. We assume that because they found the hammer next to him dead over in room 135 near the window, we assume that that's where the hammer was during the shooting. I want you guys just to open your mind up a little bit, and you got to believe me on this. And if you don't believe me, you could ask, I'm not sure if Point and Stick knows this, because that wasn't his real angle of focus. But I know, well, who would know this? Well, LVSA. He would know this. Wacko would know this. A lot of people would know this. During the middle of the night, the police department, there's video, there's 2 cops down there on the ground at the bottom of the hotel over by the valet, and they're knocking out glass. You can hear glass falling in the middle of the night. Now, John Hoover, he's using that, saying that the windows were never broke. They broke them out in the middle of the night. That's not what they did. They had the loose pieces that were going to fall. over the next day, 2 days, and whatever, they knocked him out. But all this, they already had the helicopter come by. They already had photographs. They already got it all documented. It's the middle of the night. They're doing it. Also, the guy that was below the room 134, which was the fuel tank room, the guy below the fuel tank room was from Kansas City. He was there doing some work, and he said they were moving shit around in that room all night. He said, he could hear, tables and chairs, and they were setting up stuff. He could hear activity above his head all night. And, they're in there working. They're in there doing their investigation. So they were moving things around. Just because you don't see a hammer in 134 doesn't mean that, okay? Also, I want to tell you this. 3 toolboxes are in the inventory. 3 toolboxes are in the inventory. There is, in the preliminary report, the final report. In the final report, there's a photograph to the right of the bed in 134, to the right of the bed, facing the closet and bathroom side. There's a small toolbox on the ground. It's about this big. There's a toolbox on the ground. Now, in all fairness, it could be a law enforcement fingerprint kit box that they just set off in the corner, but it's really right next to the bed on the ground. The inventory report says 3 toolboxes were found in the room. Okay? In the Bitsko interview, I think it's Bitsko that said this. In the interview with 60 Minutes or CBS or someone like that, right after the crime, law enforcement, they got on TV and said tools were all over the fucking place. They said there were tools all over the fucking room. All over the place. They said tools, okay? And when I tell you this may also help you to understand there's probably more to this than you think as far as the tools. CNN reported in an article that also interviewed Congresswoman Titus. There's a congresswoman, United States congresswoman from Nevada. Her name is Titus. And they did an interview talking about and also the undersheriff. The undersheriff, which is the guy right below, I don't remember his name, starts with an M, I believe. He's in the interview on CNN and along with Titus, quote unquote, you can still Google and find this article, multiple hammers were found in the rooms. Now, the way this community is, well, if we don't see them in the photographs in the preliminary report, we don't see him in the final report pictures. All we see is one hammer, and we see it over here. Nothing else exists. That's how close-minded many of you, and I'm pointing at you. I'm pointing at you because sometimes you need to be spanked to wake up, okay? Why would an undersheriff say multiple hammers were found in the rooms? Why would the police department in a 60 Minutes or CBS interview look at the camera and say, tools were everywhere? Yes, tools were everywhere. Tools were everywhere. He had shit laid all over the place. He needed some tools to pull this off. He had workstations. He had towels set up over in this part of the hotel. Of the room. He had towels over here. He had towels here. Each one of these towels laid out on the ground was a signal and it was white. When he lays something on top of it, it'll reflect back to him the little bit of light that he'd have in the room. Craig Paddock was smart. He planned a fucking crime for a long, long time. He shot through those fucking curtains to avoid that muzzle flash. You understand this? I hope you do. Now, regarding the fuel shot tank replacement, I'm at 59 minutes. This thing's still running. I've never done a video this long talking. I'm at 59 minutes. When I tell you this, these fuel tanks, I put some pictures on this video. The top of the fuel tank's got the pressure relief pop-off valves. Okay? All of these tanks have a pressure relief valve. You don't want an internal pressure building up in that fuel tank where that jet fuel is being stored. The fumes rise to the top. If the pressure gets high enough inside this tank, through heat or any other accident, it will release gases. If you overfill the tank, it will release the jet fuel. It is a pressure relief valve that has a setting. This is the exact same thing as a thermostat in your car. Your car has thermostats in the cooling that open and close. It's a thermostat. It's called a pop-off valve, okay? That's where the gases go up. There's dumbasses on the internet saying, well, the jet fuel won't ignite, the fumes won't ignite. If Paddock would have hit the pop-off valve, well, nobody's saying that. Nobody's ever brought it up but me. I'm the first one. I'm the only one ever to bring this up, okay? That he was aiming for the pop-off valves. He was trying to blow the fucking tanks up. All right, I've got proof of that. And it's right there in your face. There's circumstantial. It's proof in a court of law that that you could submit under the 100 rules of evidence. You could bring it in. You could bring in expert testimony under the 700 rules of federal or state court. 700 series, admissible evidence by an expert. 100 series rules, admissible evidence of conduct during the crime. Those pop-off valves at the top, that's where the fumes go. Just shooting a hole through the side of the tank, that's not going to do a damn thing. You can shoot a hole in the side of a gas can, it's not going to blow the gas can up. You hit the fumes at the top of that gas can where it's just fumes, it will blow up. Do you understand me? I pray you do. Okay? Now, look at the fuel tank. Look where the two shots hit. They're almost vertical. He had one shot here, a little bit off. He had one shot on a vertical line. He had one shot here and one shot here. The top one, the second shot was on the lip. He hit that first shot. He could see what he's doing. He's got a scope. Dude's got a freaking scope, guys. He sees what he's doing. I need to go higher. He goes up higher, hits that second one. Okay? What time? What time is it that he's taking these shots? What time is it? It's right about the time that he's about to have to get out of that room and go back and go shoot Campos again, and here comes Shuck. It's about 10:10. It's deep. We're deep into 10:09 p.m. Now we're deep into 10:09 p.m. We're right at 10:10 when Shuck and them come. He's got a camera in the room. He hears me. He knows what's going on. Shuck's out in the hallway on the fucking radio, on his cell phone, and Shuck's using a radio out in the hallway. I mean, not Shuck, Campos. Campos is in the hallway. He's just right around the corner from him. Paddock hears him. He knows he's out in that fucking hallway still. You understand? That's why he stopped. He made 2 shots at that fuel tank. That's it. He hit the tank both times. I mean, it's right in front of him. It's big. It's 3 stories tall. He's going for the top, those pop-off valves. He shot too low on the first one. Second one hit the top lip. Something spooked him. Something spooked him, and that something was Paddock. I mean, Campos. Campos in the hallway. That's what spooked him. He turns his head. He's in the room. He turns his head. He sees the camera. He hears him. He says, I got to go look at a better camera. He leaves room 134. And when he left 134 right then, that's abandonment of the plan. That's when he abandoned the plan for the fuel tanks. He never went back in there. He never went back in that room. I assure you, he never went back in there. And people are going to get mad at me for saying, how can you say I assure you? Think. Maybe you can think, okay? Just look at what he had to do the rest of the time, and then he killed himself. Just go look at it, man. He was pretty busy. The dude was pretty busy after this, right? He had to go around the corner, look through the cameras, take the gun. He's got frangible ammunition. That's another thing people are just not understanding what frangible. They're thinking it's like hollow points. They're thinking it's like a hollow point in a rifle. No, this is softer. This is a much softer ammunition that he was using. And if you don't believe me, go back to my pictures at the beginning of the video. Look on that wall right there. It looks like a shotgun hit it. That's right outside the door. That is the ammunition that went through the door, broke into like a shotgun into hundreds of pieces, and was hitting that plaster all over the drywall. It was just ripping that drywall up. All through the hallway, all the way down. And when he did shoot at Campos and Shuck in the hallway, you see pictures of where they put on the ground. He's shooting at the ground, and people are saying, why is he shooting at the carpet in the middle of the fucking walkway? Because it's frangible ammunition. He shot through the door. He knows it's going to scatter like a shotgun. And then bam, it hits that ground and it breaks into even more pieces. And I think there was over 300 spots on the wall that had these BBs, pellets, high, stable, faux. Campos had a pellet in his leg. It was a pellet gun. It was a pellet gun. Everybody's saying it's a pellet gun. It's fucking frangible ammunition, dumbos. And it's not the hollow points. This is a special ammunition. It's a softer ammunition. It's probably even less expensive. That's what he was shooting through the door. It's like shooting a shotgun. He don't know where these people are. I'm not going to open the door. It's like shooting a shotgun through the door. But instead of a shotgun leaving big holes in the door where they can come up to the door and stick their guns in and shoot you, this guy was so smart. He's like, well, I'm going to use this ammunition. It'll make a smaller hole. See, it'll make a smaller hole. They can't see through that fucking hole. But as soon as it gets through the door, it turns into a shotgun type effect. And damn you, if you don't believe me, just go look at the fucking pictures. Just look at the freaking pictures. And look how close. I mean, 6 feet on the other side of the door. The wall is just peppered like a shotgun hit it. Okay, I got that one right too, didn't I? Boom, you know it, baby. That's why I said some of these people when I was in that community, they're hard-headed people. Hard-headed people. They were so locked in on this other stupid shit that they couldn't see the forest because there were so many trees in front of them. Okay, I think I'm on my last thing. I am on the last thing. And I saved the best for last. I really did, folks. He checked into the hotel. He went down to the front desk. He told the front desk, I requested the other side of the hotel. I didn't request this side. I requested that side. Can you get me a room over there? You know, up in the air, of course. Same floor. Same area. They said, no, we don't have one available. Sorry. You're stuck. Why would he do that? Well, the best explanation I heard up to this was he's just trying to cover his ass, trying to make it look like he's covering for himself. You know, part of his plan to convince everybody he's not doing anything, right? That's not what he wanted. That's not what's going on. I saved the best for last because this is the truth. He requested the other side of the hotel. If he was going to shoot the top of that fuel tank, folks, he literally looked out the window and he's right, he is directly above the top of that tank. The other side of that hotel, the 200 wing. He requested the 200 wing. He's right above that fuel tank. He's still got an angle at the concert. That stage, it just had this, it looks like netting. Netting in the back, netting on the sides. Of course, a bullet will go right through that netting. There was no, when you look at that stage, you think, well, the stage would have stopped all the bullets. That's not at all true. Only the roof of the stage would. And there was holes up there on the roof. There's FBI. There's photographs from the first days. The FBI was up there on top of the roof of the concert, of the pavilion, where, on top of Jason Aldean, where he was performing. The FBI was up there, looking at bullet strikes. I mean, that's how you know right off the bat that it had to be somebody up in the air. You see the FBI up there, with little evidence markers. All of this was researched, man. So why would he want the 200 wing? Because when you get on YouTube and you look at the video of, say, you can ask YouTube for a video of room 235. or, the suite, the Vista suite on the other side of the hotel. Identical to the suite he had, has a connecting room. It's on the other side. But guess what? Stephen Paddock would not have to break a window. Okay, he's in 135. Where he's at right now, he really needed to be. He needed to be over there behind, he needed to be at the window by 134. He didn't break that window because they've got that big long couch there. They've got that, you understand? There's a big long couch there. So he didn't break that window. He would have easily been able to go from that window to room 134, go back and forth, back and forth. But there's something more important. That's why he ended up, he didn't get what he wanted. He didn't get what he wanted, so he had to move over to that other window. But when I tell you this, it's going to blow your fucking mind away. If you ever see a video of the other side, the Vista suites that are on the 200 wing, and you look over to where that concert venue is, you're not going to use the Vista suite to do any shooting. All of your shooting is going to be in the connecting room. The small queen suite right next to the Vista suite and the 200 wing. You wouldn't need 2 rooms. You wouldn't need it. Paddock's problem with the setup over in the 300 wing that he was in, his problem is he couldn't get an angle. He couldn't get an angle of that fuel tank unless he was in that queen suite next to him. He just couldn't do it. He couldn't get that right angle. He would have had to expose himself. He would have had to pull the curtain back around him, and he would have had to almost lean out the fucking window to hit the fuel tank from room 135. From the large Vista suite where he killed all the people in the concert, in order for him to hit the fuel tank, he would have literally had to pull the curtain back. But instead, he fired through the curtains. He fired through the curtains. I can't shoot the fuel tanks there. If I try to shoot the fuel tanks there, a sniper is going to get me. They're going to see me. The gig's up. He would lose time. So that's why he broke the window in 134. In the queen suite. That's why he broke it to go after the fuel tank. Okay, what I'm trying to say is the other side of the concert venue, it's the opposite. Everything. He could shoot the concert from the adjoining room, and oh my God. I mean, you're looking straight down on top of that fuel tank right at the pop-off valves. That guy had an airline pilot. He was an airline, it's not an airline pilot. He was a private plane pilot. He knew everything about jet fuel. People saying he was stupid. He shot the middle of the fuel tank. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, man. He's well over, he's almost a half mile. He's between a quarter mile and a half mile from the fuel tank over in 134. He is literally, folks, he is 200 yards closer, and he has a better angle looking straight down on top of the lid on that top of that fuel tank. He's looking right down at those pop-off valves. They got cameras up there. They got a light up there. They got it all up there. They got to keep an eye on that the top of that tank, make sure nobody's messing with it. They got to understand what that pop-off valve is doing. They literally have a camera on top. You don't put a camera on top just for safety reasons. It's up there because of the frickin' pop-off valve and the mechanisms that control the releases of the jet fuel gases if an overpressure situation or an overfilling situation takes place. Use your head. Nobody used their head. That's why I'm saying I haven't even told you everything. This guy planned the fuck out of this. He planned the hell out of this. He would not have had 2 broken windows. He would have had 1. He would have had it in the little suite right next to him. It's when you look at 134 and 135 that he shot from, it's the other way. The Vista suite's on the outside, the Queen suite's on the inside. The way it is right now, I'm not sure if my hands are pointing the right direction for some of y'all's mind because of the way this phone's pointing and I'm recording. But right now he shot the concert people here, fuel tanks here. That's disadvantage. There's disadvantages to that because if he was here, he couldn't hit the fuel tank, so he had to break a second window. If he was in a 200 wing, he doesn't need the Vista Suite. He's got a connecting room. All the work is done in a connecting room. All the work. He breaks the window. He shoots the concert. He hits the fuel tank. He comes out of the connecting room. They're looking up there. They don't see any broken windows on his suite. The Vista Suite has no broken windows. They're scratching their head. Who's in that room next to him? He's already hit the stairway and fucking gone. He's out of there. Which I don't believe ever was his intent. He was suicidal, but that's another reason. That's another issue. That's called the tannerite. What was he going to do with all that tannerite? I am going to make a separate video on that. And I'm going to give you a hint before I close the video. Do you remember there was a television show on TV called Vegas? Had these beautiful girls in it, man. All these beautiful girls wearing all these skimpy, beautiful Las Vegas clothes, and good-looking guys that were working there, and had James Caan's, had Tom Selleck was one of the characters. This was a #1 show for a long time. It was called Vegas. I think it was. I know it was. There's an episode called Heroes, something like that. Suicidal guy goes into the hotel, the Montecito. It's called the Montecito Hotel on TV. Suicidal guy goes up in the air to the hotel. He commits suicide and blows himself up with a bomb. He blows a big hole. Kills himself and blows a big old hole in the hotel. And they end this. I'm not sure if they ended the season or what happened. And it was a hard issue to Google. It was a hard issue to Google. And I thought to myself, if I ever had to ask Mary Lou Danley one question, Mary Lou Danley, did you and him used to sit down and watch Vegas? Did y'all watch the TV show Vegas? Because over the years, I think it ran for like 7 or 8 seasons, there was 3 bombings. One of them was upstairs. Also in the 1970s, Paddock is old enough to remember this, either the 70s or the late 80s, I think it was the 70s, could have been the 60s. There's a place called the Harvey Hotel. A bomb went off in Vegas at the Harvey Hotel. Paddock's got over 100 pounds of tannerite down in the car. 2 of the sacks that he has, you don't buy in a gun shop. You don't go to the gun shop and buy the 2. He had 2 sacks of it that you have to special order off the internet. I actually found the place that he probably ordered it off the internet. Yeah. What's he doing with all that shit in the car? People are saying, oh, he's just going to the desert and going shooting up. No, that's not what he was doing. That silver box in the hotel. I got it in my pictures here. Everybody's wondering, why has he got that so close to the bar? What's he doing just sitting right next to his fucking dead body? Everyone's asking, why did he go back? Why did he leave the hotel rooms, risk somebody finding all these guns up there after bringing all them bags up? Why did he go all the way back to Mesquite, Nevada, back to his house? What was found in the parking garage in his car? Nothing but explosives. Nothing but explosives were found in his car. Why didn't he use them? How many valet trips did he make? He made 9. Don't you think you're pushing your luck carrying 23, 24, 25 bags over a period of just a few days up into the hotel? You're already having to try to hide this by putting dirty clothing in both bathrooms, leaving food here and there. 2 dirty glasses are sitting in the living room over there by the 135 door. I mean, the 134, there's 2 dirty glasses sitting there. 2, not just 1. He made sure there's 2. He made sure there's 2. Somebody comes in and looks around, that's what they see. He told the bellhop, Jorge, it's in the final report. Jorge said, he asked Paddock what's going on, and he said, I got family coming in. That's why he needed all these suites. That's why he needed almost 2,000 square foot of hotel rooms. Almost 2,000 square foot, man. Think about that. That's a lot of hotel room for one guy, right? But he wanted the other side of the hotel. He would have only had to break 1 window. I think that he realized one of the times he ordered the food, probably the first time he ordered food, I think he realized, I got that big metal box there. And he had already researched tannerite. He had already researched what to do with the tannerite. But you got to put it in a container. You got to get it. You got to have that container in an ice chest. You got to put it in something like that. He's got 100 pounds of it. You take that aluminum box that he just happened to stumble on one of the last nights he was there ordering food, trying to make it look like he's eating up there, and he didn't eat food. And he looks at that box and says, well, fuck it, I'm going to go home and get the tannerite. I might as well just blow myself up. That'd probably feel a lot better than putting a fucking gun in my mouth. I think that's why he went and got the tannerite. He said, well, if I'm going to commit suicide, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to blow myself up. And if you look on YouTube and look at tannerite explosions, ooh, man, they got videos showing 100 pounds of tannerite blowing up a little small wooden frame farmhouse. I mean, blowing it fucking up. They got videos of 100 pounds of tannerite taking a car, like an SUV, a little small SUV, fucking blowing that car all to fucking hell. All you got left is pieces of frame all over the place. I think he was wanting to get that tannerite up, but he just got scared. He just got scared, and people don't understand that. I mean, he made 9 trips. He got cold feet and said, well, you know, I guess I'm just going to have to use the fucking handgun. He used the handgun. Killed himself. My throat is roaring sore. If this damn video uploads, it'll be a miracle. And if it don't, I'm going to be really, really pissed off. But I am not a researcher in this community. I don't want to be bothered with a bunch of fucking questions. I want you to feel free to share this video. Maybe it'll help some people understand what the fuck is going on with this crime. People can say it's nothing but disinformation all they want. I don't care. I really don't care. I know what the facts are. I know where they lead. But over these years, I've really came to realize that when he asked for that other side of that hotel, instead of 2 windows to break out, only 1. Instead of a hard extra 300 or 400 yards shooting towards the fuel tank, trying to hit the pop-off valves, which he had already bought everything and prepared for God's sakes, gentlemen, he's got tripod. He's got tripods in there for a reason. He has tripods for a reason. He doesn't think he's going to get it on the first shot. It might take him 100 shots. He's got 3, 4 tripods. This might take me 10 minutes. I'm going to blow that fucking fuel tank up. That's why he's got all them different weapons with the tripods. If you fairly call yourself an investigator, then you'll understand. I want you to have a good day. Pass this whoever you want. I'm glad you're alive. I'm surprised I'm alive. I know that 3 investigators, we're looking at this. And when I say investigators, I'm talking about just online and YouTube investigators. 3 of us that were in that community are dead. There's probably somebody else dead, and many of us were really fighting. My throat hurt. And many of us were fighting some really serious health problems during that time. And I wish you well. I wish you well. And yeah, I don't care if you share the video. I just don't want to see people saying, how can I find this or where can I find that? I ain't looking, man. It's all out there. It's all there. Take care.